What up, what up? I'm back at it again with another video. Before I get into the video, you know what I'm gonna say? Go ahead and smash that thumbs up button for me and help me reach my goal of 2,000 subscribers. Just subscribe. For today's video, I'm going to be reacting to Jubilee's Bisexual Woman Rates Her Hookups. So, let's get into it.
This season of Sex Ed is brought to you by Lilo. Stick around until after the episode to learn a little bit more.
How was she in bed? Sade was excellent in bed.
He's really good in bed. He made me finish like a bunch before finishing himself. Yeah, he's great. He's like really good in bed.
Sade's pretty.
Was sex talked about in your home growing up?
I actually was very much like abstinent till marriage kind of person. I think when like puberty started to hit, you start like feeling things and body change and all of that occurs. I had sex for the first time at like 16. I cried afterwards, had a lot of guilt. Really fun, great experience, poor guy. I knew that there were like sexual things that happened in life, but it wasn't something that I thought was like applicable to me, kind of until puberty. I met Garrett my freshman year at Yale. I had come to college very much trying to be single.
I actually remember the circumstances of this very well because it was the first or second day of October break freshman year of college.
I did just ghost him. I wouldn't do that if I could go back and fix things.
Tell me the story of your first hookup. So we were in someone's dorm room, we were playing that game, Never Have I Ever. I remember specifically because during the game of Never Have I Ever, I shared that I had never had a blowjob to completion. People start to head out one by one over the course of the night, and then, as luck would have it, Sade and I were the last ones sticking around.
Can I say something? A lot of men will be like, oh yeah, I have never finished off of a blowjob or whatever, just to like test you. Stay sharp, okay? Because some people be lying to try to get you to, you know, put on your A game. I would just say that. Anyway.
One thing led to another.
I don't remember much about it. I remember him being very nice and very kind. But outside of that, I feel like I was kind of really very much like exploring sexual bounds in my life, and it wasn't anything that was like particularly memorable, though a lot of that first kind of semester hookups bled together for me.
What's one thing she could improve upon in bed? We were like both 18 at the time, so I think the ceiling of how good it can be is only so high. At 18, I'm sure there are plenty of critiques on my end, and I didn't even know what I was looking for.
When I have hookups now, I talk a lot more about like what we like, and I'm much more like comfortable in bed. And I feel like when I was hooking up with people in that like freshman year headspace where a lot of my sexual encounters were kind of validation driven, I don't think I would have spoken up if like something didn't go well or like if I didn't finish, and now I'm much more open about that stuff. So if anything like was poor, it probably was like situational and not like him as a person. I reached out to him for this video. You know, in doing that, I apologized for ghosting him, and I was like, hey, like just asking hookups around LA, like would you want to come shoot a video about us hooking up? And he was like, yeah, sure. Which I think says something really, really nice about him. I think he's really wonderful and like open and kind, and like is someone I would want to pursue as a friend. I just don't see us ever going somewhere like romantically.
Wait. My good sis, Sade, you ghosted him, and then the next time you spoke to him was to ask him to be on this show? No comment. I needed to ask that question for clarity.
I met Sade via dating apps. We met in a park near where I live.
Luke and I matched on a couple dating apps, and then we went on a date in a park.
And we had a fun time chatting and were connecting on a lot of levels.
And then we decided to hook up that night, and we've kind of like hooked up casually since.
Did you use protection? Yes. We definitely used condoms.
On the first round, yes. On the second round, no. I feel really bad about it. That's definitely not smart. Like, I don't recommend that. But I, again, like have the birth control implant, so I feel sometimes a little bit better about that. But no. Oops.
How was she in bed? Sade was excellent in bed.
It's like when you have like one level or layer of protection, so like the birth control, I feel like that can sometimes make you let your guard down or be like, whatever, like I'm already protected in this way. And it's like, Yeah, and STIs and HIV also exist. But she caught that, you know, and this is sex ed. You know, we're learning. Experience. You gotta, sometimes, you know, you have experiences, even though you know in the back of your head, yeah, I know I shouldn't have, and you know what I mean? Yeah, we're learning. Everybody's learning.
He's really good in bed. So our first round lasted for a really long time. I remember that. He made me finish like a bunch before finishing himself. Yeah, he's great. He's like really good in bed.
It was built on a lot of communication. There's this, I think, misconception that people have wordless, passionate, amazing sex that I think comes from movies, and that's just really not the case.
He's really good at focusing on his partner in bed, and that's something I think I don't always find. Very adventurous, very kind. First person to ever make me squirt, which was really cool, and like he's like pretty committed to doing that every time.
What happened next? We both were very okay with keeping things pretty casual.
I don't know, I'm like a big believer in like casual sex can be casual sex.
I'm a big believer in asking women, what makes you come? What makes you squirt? How do you have an orgasm?
And like, not every relationship needs to be romantic. Sometimes I think about it, like when he comes over and we, you know, sit and talk for a long time, I'm like, like maybe this is like the relationship that I want to have.
And then I think we also offered each other some pretty important emotional support that was unexpected.
I was sexually assaulted a couple months ago, and like Luke was just really there for me, and like he's the first person I slept with after the assault, and in the middle of a hookup like broke down, and like he immediately caught it. He was like very careful to like ask if I was okay. Like even if it ended horribly tomorrow, like I could never regret hooking up with someone who has just been such a wonderful support system in such a hard time of my life.
All I'd hope for is that we remain on good terms, and that we look back on whatever we've had fondly.
So we met back in 2018, interning at Goldman Sachs together.
Jess and I met in our 2018 Goldman Sachs summer internship. She worked in finance and I worked in HR, and we sat next to each other on the first day. And I remember looking at her and being like, oh my gosh, that is such a hot suit.
She's beautiful and she's wearing this black suit, and I remember thinking, I want to be her friend.
Tell me the story of your first hookup. Jess and I have just like made out. Again, like we met in 2018, and then this weekend is the first time we've seen each other in person since then. So like it's cool to have those conversations. It's definitely more like emotional, less physical.
How good is she as a kisser?
Great, incredible. She's really hot.
It was good. She said I was a good kisser, so that was good.
How was she?
She was good. Solid. 10 out of 10.
I know she's like wary about coming across as like a fuckboy, but like I think she's really, really awesome. And I also like know about her other dating life, and I know that she's good in bed. From what I've heard.
What?
Do you
Y'all be...
Ever think about them, fantasize about them. I wouldn't say I fantasize about her or think about her in that way, just because we do have like this incredible friendship, and we've talked about dating and we've talked about going into a relationship together, and I don't think I would want to jeopardize our friendship anytime soon just for the chance of dating.
Even if we don't kind of go that route, she's definitely like a platonic life partner, someone I want in my life. Like we've talked about like buying a house together, or like we have that like if she turns 40 and we're both single, we're getting married type thing. But it's definitely like a different relationship than a lot of the other ones I've had in the past.
Is there any chance that you guys would like cross that boundary while you're here and hook up and kiss or anything like that?
I mean, maybe kiss, but I don't think we would hook up because that's a pretty hard boundary for me.
I think it's a relationship that I'm really, really, really scared to ruin. Jess is one of the best people I've ever met. So I think that like question is always going to be there. I think it's hard to hook up with somebody and then have them go back to long distance and like not talk again. So I don't know.
I think in the past, I really struggled with having that line between friends and hookups and partners. And I think especially with our friendship, I don't want it to go anywhere anytime soon. So I want to work hard to make sure that doesn't happen or jeopardize that in any way.
Wow, everybody's so mature.
We asked her to rank hookups. Where do you think you fell?
I think she'd rate me pretty well in bed. Maybe not.
Well, I guess I was 18 at the time. God knows what I was doing in there. I was
Out of these three, who was the best hookup?
Luke. not a question.
Who was the worst?
Sorry, Garrett. Has to be Garrett. Just because, like, I don't remember it very much. He might have been incredible. Also, it was years ago. He's had time to improve. Right? So, like, I assume there's been an upward trajectory. I don't have any regrets about my sexual experiences in life. I think that's something I'm grateful to have explored, and I'm grateful that I gave myself the grace and the time to like explore that, even if it wasn't the healthiest thing ever. I've grown a lot as like a sexual person. I'm really vocal now, and like I ask for what I want, and I discuss sexual situations in advance. I'm also pretty like adventurous and open, and I really like a lot of those things about myself, which I think makes me a fun partner to have in bed if that's something you're into.
Yeah, that video was funny and it was cool. Yeah, I really liked what she said at the end about how even though like in the past maybe she hasn't always made the healthiest decisions, like she doesn't really have many regrets, you know, it's been a part of her journey and learning and becoming more vocal. And I think that becoming more vocal has to do with like becoming more confident and having more experience. And even if you don't have experience, more so learning about yourself and learning about what you like and what you need. And that is like a big part of sex with women, kind of in general, but like at the same time with sex you can obviously like explore together and like learn new things together. But yeah, that video was really funny, and like I can't imagine bringing like 3 different people I've hooked up with to rank them or to talk about, you know, what we did or didn't do. I kiss and don't tell, so that would never be me. And you know, I think that good sex is really, really subjective, and it obviously changes as they mentioned. Like when you were 18, maybe the ceiling that you had back then was a certain thing, and then now that you're older, you know, it's different. Even outside of age, just like our bodies change, our mindsets change, what turns us on changes, and being good in bed is so subjective. And then specifically around like bisexual people, bisexual women, bisexual men, being good in bed, or the best in bed, or the wildest or freakiest, you know, that is like a form of fetishistic biphobia. And I actually just wrote an essay about that, which I will definitely link in the description box below. It's this like tricky line, right? Especially for bisexual men, who a lot of times we are rejected or whatever immediately, or thought of as disgusting or lying or whatever. And to go from being perceived like that to then being stereotyped as like, oh, the best in bed, it can feel like, oh yeah, like, yeah, I want to be known as the best in bed. But that is a sort of fetishism, and that can lead to a lot of dangerous situations. And a lot of people don't know, but like bisexual men face far more sexual violence than our gay and our straight counterparts. The same is true for bisexual women. They face a lot more sexual violence than their gay and straight counterparts on average. It was really sad to hear that you know, Sade, the woman in the video, did experience sexual violence. So yeah, that's like a real thing that disproportionately impacts our community. And yeah, I think that when you engage with a particular kind of person, race, sexuality, gender, etc., and immediately it's in this like sexual kind of way, it's in this like, oh, they're the best, or they're the most masculine, or the most attractive, or the most submissive, or the best blah blah blah, and you project that onto an entire group, that is when you are in really, really dangerous fetishistic territories. So don't do that. You don't want to do that. That's not good. It's not good. So if you made it to the end of this video, leave me some hearts down in the comment section below, and let me know if there are any other videos on the internet that you want me to react to. And if you would like to help me out in any way, my Cash App and my Venmo information is right down below in the description box. I'll see you next time. Peace.